We know it's a critical space to bring researchers together with those who are embedded in policymaking organizations and research organizations to really think about what are those next questions that need to be answered and to reflect on what have been the answers to date and what are the challenges that remain as we study things.
This report and our work focused on permanent supportive housing, but we acknowledged as we set out to do this review and this work that there are many different kinds of housing interventions or interventions that are meant to assist persons experiencing homelessness. We were working specifically from the context of understanding permanent supportive housing and how it contributes to health outcomes for chronically homeless persons. There was an Institute of Medicine report in 1988 on homelessness, health, and human needs that reviewed all of the evidence and demonstrated incontrovertibly that homelessness is horrible for people's health in every possible way. Does permanent supportive housing improve health outcomes for persons who are in permanent supportive housing? And that was our primary research question. Permanent supportive housing is absolutely effective in keeping persons safely and stably housed, and so there's great potential for reducing the numbers of persons experiencing chronic homelessness, but also for improving their health outcomes. There have actually been few very well-designed studies that demonstrate effectiveness of permanent supportive housing in improving health outcomes. We want to be sure that when we are trying to make claims about causality, that we have the methodology to support it. And so one of the highest standards is the randomized controlled trial, or very strong quasi-experimental designs. Perhaps we should pay more attention to exploring those conditions, those health conditions which are sensitive to the potential impact of housing. We need to spend more attention and time on understanding processes in permanent supportive housing, particularly when we're comparing usual services to permanent supportive housing and how people do. As far as we know, there is no minimum standard of services that should be provided in permanent supportive housing. And maybe that's because we know that services should be tailored to each person's need. We really need to do a better job in terms of understanding diversity in cultural, racial, ethnic, gender, sexual orientation in services and outcomes. So we know that permanent supportive housing ends homelessness, and we've got to address this somehow to be able to move forward and make sure that people understand that persons who've experienced homelessness are our neighbors and they're our brothers and sisters, and they deserve to live among us as members of the community.